I have never had this craving for a pizza bagel in all my life. Hey guys, Movie Fan 2002 here, and I'm here today at last to give you guys my spoiler review on the second part of the Owl House series finale. It's titled For the Future, and this is the official version. Trust me, after 3 months of waiting and spending the last two weeks having to avoiding spoilers at all costs because Disney had to leak the episode, we can finally now watch it and give our full thoughts on it. And believe me, I'm so glad I waited, because if I didn't, well, so what did I think of it? Well, let's go through the episode first, then I'll tell you what I mean. So, very similarly to Thanks to Them, the episode actually begins with the ending of King's Tide, but this time from the Boiling Owl's perspective, where after King pushes Luz and the others through the portal, the portal door closes and then explodes, and then King is then plummeted up by the Collector, and he's just celebrating like his freedom. Then all of a sudden everything like goes into chaos, and like everything's getting all chaotic. Then the Collector asks of like, okay, so how do we play this Owl House game? Like, you said you would teach me after I stopped the draining spell. Then King was like, okay, well, it's like we play pretend, like we go on adventures. Then Lilith and Hootie shows up, and they see them, and they're like, what's going on up there? And they try to save him, but it's like, stay away from my best friend. Although he only just met him, and he turns both Lilith and Hootie into puppets. Yeah, into toy puppets. Like, yeesh, dark. And there's like, hey, you can't hurt anybody. They're not hurt. They're up in our new house, which is like their version of the Owl House, or as they call it later on in the episode, the Archive House. So, anyways, then Rain wakes up from its coma a lot sooner than expected. I thought she was still going to be in the coma, but anyways, and they see that and Ida sees King is with the Collector, and she's like, she has to go, and he's gonna go fight him, and he turns into Harvey mode, which Rain blushes, and we get Rain's Rhapsody playing in the background. No, wait, it's Ida's Requiem. Yeah, Ida's Requiem. Anyways, as they're flying, we see numerous pentagram posts, but by the time she reaches them, the Owl Beast curse starts taking full effect again for the first time since, pretty much, I'm gonna say since the fourth episode of season 2, Keeping Offenses. I think that was the name of the episode. Yeah, the episode where we meet Gwendolyn. Yeah. Anyways, and then she sees him, like, you look fun. Do you want to play? And that's like the ending in terms of the prologue. Then we finally come back to After Thanks to Them, where we see Luz in the in-between realm. Then we see this figure, which after doing a little bit of research, is actually someone like a Titan. Some people are saying it's like King from the future, but I'm gonna say it's possibly the Titan spirit. I don't know. It's either one or the other. But this is the only time in the episode where they address it, so it's most likely it's gonna be acknowledged in the final episode. Yeah, well, it better be. Anyways, Luz is then pulled out through the in-between realm, and they're all back in the Boiling Isles. She said like she saw someone. Then we get like, then he asks, is there any sight of him? And he's like, oh, like, it's not like a swarm of ghosts is going to appear. Like, obviously that's a Harry Potter reference of referencing Voldemort from Harry Potter. Yeah. Anyways, they then go, like, searching through Belos, but Hunter's, like, way determined to, like, go and stop Belos and, like, kill him. Like, basically, in the first half, about, like 2/3 of this episode, he's basically acting like John Wick. And a bit of his former Golden Guard self, like, prior to Hollow Mind. So yeah, and obviously, like, they're all showing off and obviously, like, Willow and Amity, they're like showing off like their cool ability, cool magic and stuff. Anyways, once they're walking, they notice like, oh shoot, like the Titan's skull, like Camilla was freaked out by it, but then like, oh wait, what is? Then they notice like everything's like not normal, like it's all like a happy playtime thing, and then they can get answers down in Bonesboro. Then Camila starts like complimenting about the place, but Luz knows what she's trying to do. She's trying to like convince her like, you could stay here, but but she still hasn't changed her mind, and thanks to them, like she's still making her plan to stay in the human realm after they rescue Ida and King. And honestly, I'm actually glad that they didn't like do the whole like, oh, like immediately like, oh, she's back, like she completely forgot about it. No, I'm glad they actually are still acknowledging it in this episode. So I'm glad they like that it's not completely done yet. Like this episode's actually like the completion for Luz's emotional character arc, and I thought that worked very well for me personally. I'll get more into that later, but I just wanted to say that right now. Anyways, as they continue to walk, we then cut to like a different part of the Oz where we see Belos, and he's like falling apart, and he's like trying to crawl away. Then he sees this still image of Caleb, and no, seriously, it's just a still image. But to make things interesting, there's above this Caleb spirit, there's a bit of a dagger knife thing, and I thought that was very creative. Like, then he's like, it's all your fault. It's your fault this all happened. And there's like, his body starts to change. Like, I need a new body. And so he starts to go searching for a new body, like going back to like his old place at the head of the Titan. So then Luz, Amity, Gus, Willow, Hunter, and Camila come across the old owl house, now abandoned, and with some graffiti with some bad words right there. Then we get a callback to the first episode where Camila where Luz says to Camila that he welcomes her to the owl house, once but completely deserted. Really sad. But anyways, sorry, it's really sad that they had to return to the abandoned place. But remember, prior to this episode, the owl house was abandoned. The Emperor's scouts came in and took everything once after Hollow Mind happened. Anyways, then we get the scene with Camila, Gus, and Will, where she's saying like she needs some advice like about Luz. Like she's so determined to make herself sad, and then they bring up like this past time, like when about like when Gus tried to run away, and then like Willow comes in order to help her, and like then they decide to go help Hunter, and then like you can help Luz like at your time of need. However, Willow is starting to feel. However, we start noticing some plants growing from Willow's legs. Yeah, Willow also has an arc in this episode. Actually, most of the Hexite squad actually go through emotional conflict in this episode. I thought that worked very well. I'm glad that they're actually showing that. It's not just Luz and Hunter who are dealing with eternal struggles or past events that they have to do. And I thought that worked very well. Speaking of Luz, Amity walks into Ida's room after finding this after finding a photo, which yes, it does have Ida and King in there, and she sees Luz and Ida in Ida's nest, and then she talks to her about like if you want your talisman to hatch, in order for it to make your bond, you have to know what you truly want. And she asks her like, how did you get your talisman to hatch? Like she wanted to be like, oh, I wanted to be a great witch, or I wanted to be an author like Mildred Featherwile. I think that was her name. But then, anyways, and of course Luz shows, and of course we see the photo, which is a really nice photo, and she said she'll find Ida and King. And wouldn't you know it, to their surprise, they notice that Ida and King is right there. Ida and King is like, they see Ida and King, like, at least he does. Like, he sees him on this flying star, which looks like a Kirby warp star, something. And, like, he notices that. And they all decide to fly into town in order to search it. And yes, this was Camila's first time flying, which I'm surprised he was freaked out, because she kind of saw Amity, Gus, and Willow flying on their staffs when they were confronting Hunter or Belos in the previous episode. So yeah, I feel. Anyways, when they get to town, they notice that the entire town is completely deserted. Like, and there's like so much graffiti. Like most places are like destroyed. Then all of a sudden, like a blast comes through, and like the entire town turns into this colorful illusion of a place, and everyone's there, but they're all like puppets, and they're like interacting like their own version of the fourth episode of the series, The Intruder, with the Albies. and you think for a moment it's Ida, but it's not, because once the Collector and King arrive, now King wearing like a similar outfit to the Collector, they stop the Owl Beast, but it's actually not Ida. It's Terra Snapdragon. Yeah, it's one of the... Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't die during the draining spell. And that's one of 2 characters in the show that I'm surprised didn't die during it. So yeah. Anyways, after all that, although then again, considering how cranky she was, he turns her into a puppet. Although then again, no one's really gonna care if he's a puppet, because I don't really give a shit about her. So, But then he's like, Collector, you gotta stop like turning these people into puppets. They're not. It's not right, and like, and then maybe we can get the real Owl Beast to convince them, like, what she's talking about, Ida. And then they obviously go back to the palace, and of course Luz tries to like, no, not yet, but like, obviously not knowing that Luz has returned. Yeah. Anyways, then they notice about like, wait, do you think like anyone who turns into a puppet gets locked in the archives, and like, then that's where we have to head. Then that's where we have to go to. Then all of a sudden they hear a familiar voice. Turns out it's Bartholomew, along with Skara and Barkus. You know, the dog, that dog student who was at Hexside? Yeah, that's him. Anyways, they explain everything, like what happened on their perspective, like during the Day of Unity, like when the draining spell hit, like they thought they couldn't protect themselves. But then once it stopped and after all the adults recovered, then all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it, like all the Collector spies comes in order to take everyone and turn them into puppets. The Grudge-B teams, all the teachers, thank goodness they didn't lose any of their magic. Actually, which is relieving. I mean, if this is obviously foreshadowing that, like in the final battle, because if the Collector is gonna like be redeemed, like in the final episode, and like he's gonna free everyone for like a big epic final battle against Belos, it'll be good that everyone will still have their magic, like now knowing like who he truly is. Yeah. Anyways, oh, and we get this funny moment, well, or cringy moment at that, when he says that I went from Matt Bartholomew to Man Bartholomew, which everyone except for Camila was like cringing about it. Anyways, they welcome them to New Hexside, where it's completely disastrous and everything's. And if you're wondering why, well, I'll get to that in a moment. Anyways, after that, they're reunited like with some people, where Willow is reunited with Viney. I think that's her name. Yeah, that's Viney. And Amity is reunited with Ed and Emra, although Edric is completely in a huge cast, which was just hilarious to see. Anyways, then they're really like, wait, why is all this going down? Then we hear a similar voice that sounds like, wait, is that Basha? Yep, Basha is running New Hexside as the president. I'm glad they actually give Basha like something to do here for once again. Like give her like an antagonistic role, like after like completely being sidelined in season 2. I thought Dana was completely done with her, but no, they actually did had something to give her, and I thought it worked very well. Anyways, we then come back to Belos, where he's like going to find like a Grimwalker body to possess, and on the way over he sees like the other failed attempts, and he's like, when he sees him, he's like, shut up. I'm sorry, I just find that to be kind of funny. So he just so he tries to possess that Grimwalker, and before we see what happens next, we then cut back to King and the Collector, where they're heading back into they're heading back to their palace, and they want to check out, and they're going to check out on the Owl Beast, and they're greeted by Odalia. Out of all the characters in the show, Odalia didn't die during the Day of Unity. My God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being a bit quiet. It's just you know how I feel about Odalia. Anyways, so he asks them that they need to feed the Owl Beast, and he says that he demands them to give them pizza bagels, despite Odalia having some suggestions to do for the Isles for her needs. Yeah, don't talk back to the collector. Well, at least to this one, at least. Anyways, so the colle- Anyways, so we get so after that happens, we then go back to. Well, wait. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought for a moment. Well, yeah. We then go inside their bedroom where it's like on a planet, and King reads him a story where and King reads him a story where it's actually about like the collectors, like something about the collectors, but he actually changes that last part, and because he's a bit ashamed of his past. You see, despite like briefly knowing about it, the collector is honestly not really a villain, if you ask me, but a rather a tragic child. You see, he he was raised by obviously he was part of the collector's lineup, but unlike him, the remaining of them are just but unlike the collector who liked to play games, the remaining of them wants to like conquer worlds and like scourge people and kill them. And obviously it led to wars against the Titans, and it led to all the other Titans being destroyed by the collectors, which explained why this collector was sealed away. So that's why he wants to have fun with games despite them being chaotic. Anyways, he asks the king if he can hold Francois, but he decides not to because only one other person can hold him, and that being the human, and that being Luce. And obviously, and it's kind of weird that he has a bit of a grudge towards her despite barely knowing her. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna learn more about it in the next episode. So, but hey, I'm not really gonna complain too much about it. Anyways, they then arrive at. Anyways, once they get inside the gym, they meet up with Basha and another person named and two other people named Mickey and Roka. Yeah, Mickey and Roka, or that's who we think it is. Yeah, because when I saw that face, I knew it was someone else that I was kind of familiar with. So, they asked him like about their plan to in order to like save the Boy of the Isles, but they think it's too risky and like they can't allow it. That's why they decide to come up with a different solution. They decide that they're gonna like find like the memory that they need in order to the memory that they need of the time when Luz met Philip Whittabane and of the glyph combo in order to get to the Titan's skull so they can get to the archives a lot quicker. Anyways, but before we see that, we then cut to King, where we finally get to see Ida again in the episode. Yeah, unfortunately, Ida is not in the episode. Ida and Lilith are not in the episode that much, but you know what? I can understand why they're not in there. But hey, they're definitely gonna have huge roles in the final episode. I mean, no doubt there. Also, Ida now has shorter hair, which actually some fans were theorizing. Nice to know that fan theory actually came true. Anyways, and King holds one of the a puppet Hootie, to which we then see Lilith now having having her natural hair again, which I think does work very well. I mean, Amity got like had a different hair color, like starting with through the Looking Glass ruins and onwards. Now it's Lilith's turn, although this is her natural hair color instead of a dyed hair color. Anyways, then after Ida took a bit of the elixir, Lilith then sees Hootie. Hootie. Then after a tear, Hootie then reawakens and he hears him. Although that's the only line of dialogue we hear from Hootie in this episode. Well, other than at the beginning. But don't worry. But hey, at least he finds other ways to see him. But hey, it's good to still hear Alex Hirsch's voice as Hootie. Anyways, yes. So anyways, back at the school, we see they definitely do whatever they can in order to find like the memory by using the same tweezers that they use in Understanding Willow. So after all that, so they go through Luz's memories. Well, which I'm glad they actually decided to do that instead of, well, going inside Luz's mind. Yeah. Honestly, that would have been a bit horrific. Well, considering of the state, considering of what you've been witnessing. Anyways, after that, we then, unfortunately, Belos's Grimwalker was getting rotting again, so he decided to possess another body. And you think, oh, it's gonna be Odalia. Thank goodness, because with the two of them together, I mean, sure, I hate those two, but at least it would be, no, it's Rain. But then again, on the other hand, considering that Belos's possession kind of like kills people, and considering that Rain is already possessed by being made of wood, I think this actually does work, in my opinion. Anyways, so yeah, so Rain possesses. No, Belos is possessed by. No, Rain is possessed by Belos, which to which the Round Table called her Bane, but I'm not gonna call her that, so I'm just gonna call him Possessed Toy Rain, because I think it's much better. And besides, I don't want there to be like a copyright from DC. Anyways, so they finally found the photo that they need in order to get to the skull, and they're like, but before they leave, like, Willow gives Hunter a photo of Flapjack, which makes him feel a little sad, and then Willow starts feeling bad again, and she starts, like, plants start growing out of her, and like she then runs off. Then Gus confesses, like, he knew that he was a Grimwalker all along, and he was waiting to tell him. But he felt like he ruined, like, he wanted to, like, have a natural conversation. And honestly, thank goodness that Hunter didn't get angry, because I was concerned for a moment they were gonna do like a scene that he was gonna be as angry like Star-Lord was at Thanos in Infinity War after realizing that he killed Gamora. Thank goodness that didn't happen, and instead, like, it didn't matter. He ran off to them. Anyways, but then Willow is confronted by Basha, and she gets angry, and then wouldn't you know, and then she covers her mouth because Sleeping Nettles comes. And before we could, anyways, then back in the room, Amity, they're gonna say like rescuing their parents is gonna be hard. And just right when Luz is about to tell Amity about about her plan about leaving the demon realm, well, wouldn't you know it, a blast came through. Thank goodness that this is the second time that it happened. That this is the second time it got interrupted, because honestly, if that did happen, it would have caused like then obviously it would have been like an argument scene, probably saying like, well, then that would have gone not very well. I mean, maybe I might write a little I am intrigued to see how what people's thoughts would be like if we did have that conversation before Kikimora busts through the door. Oh yeah, sorry about that, but yes, that reddish person that you see there, I knew it. It was Kikimora. When I heard the voice, I was like, oh yeah. Even Luz's reaction, I was like, I was not that surprised. I mean, her voice was just way too familiar. How can I not know that is not Kikimora? I mean, and besides, at least we were gonna see Kikimora was gonna be an antagonist at least one more time. Anyways, but before we can see what happens next with them, we then cut to the possessed Rain is then walking to Belos to the Collector's bedroom, and then the Collector's like, wait, you shouldn't be moving. How are you moving? Like, it's the act of your kindness that brought me to life. You take good care of us common heads, but I'm here to warn you that you're in danger, Collector. But yes, but for the Collector's standpoint, but from us audience standpoint, yes, the Collector is in danger, but it's actually from Belos, not from. So if anything, I think the Collector, King think Belos has something up his sleeve in order to kill the Collector, like when he, like in the final episode. So, anyways, cutting back to Hex side, we then see Luz, Amity, Camila, and Bartholomew in the detention pit, and yes, Hunter, Willow, and Gus are there too, and then then there's like a battle that takes place where they're fighting each other. Oh, and did I forget to mention that we actually see Kikimora's mouth after 2 seasons of waiting? Well, 3 technically, but you get what I mean. But yes, we do see Kikimora's mouth, but that's not the point. We then get a big battle, and it was just really intense. And after Camila's failed attempt of doing the ice cliff, it then turned. Then it leads to a battle between Luz and Camila were able to escape along with Amity and Bartholomew, but then they're confronted by Basha, and she asks them, "Oh, please, Amity, you should come back. You should help us." But obviously, Amity disapproves because of what happens, and she's like, "I'm not gonna be like you, Basha, but we can help you save the teammates." Then we see Hunter and Gus trying to find Willow, and then Hunter's like, "Oh my God, everyone's on edge. Flap, I don't know what to do." Then all of a sudden she sees Willow, and she's saying I can do this, like bottling up her emotions. Yeah, Willow also, like I said, everyone are going through struggling times in this episode, and I think it works very well for this. Anyways, once that's all said and done, we then cut back to the Collector, and guess what we get? A misunderstanding trope. Yes, I do not like this trope. I really don't. But then again, this one, it wasn't really that bad. Because then again, it's coming for the villain and setting up for the finale where he sees King's he's trying to find a way to defeat the Collector. The Collector must be stopped for good. It's you're lying, and then he tells him oh, Luz is back. He's here to help you destroy. He's here to help King destroy him, and that makes him angry. You're lying. Wait, are you? But in actuality, the Collector wants to reason with him, which I think that makes total sense. In order for things to go back to normal, he's kind of like him. He's a scared child, and he's not wrong. So he's maybe I should talk to him, immortal being to semi-immortal being, and I think it works very well. Meanwhile, Luz and Camila are hiding from Kikimora, but Luz is very frustrated, she messed up again, but Camila decides to comfort her by telling her of all the times she messed up, including the one where she was convinced to move to Gravefield to be near the hospital, but she knew how that ended with her father dying. But then she says that she failed when she needed her most, more specifically back in the first episode. And she forgot about the astral oath from Cosmic Frontier, and she was like, "Wait, Mom, you're a secret nerd?" And I thought that was nice. And then she tells them that her biggest regret was trying to change Luz into something she wasn't, which she didn't want to change that good witch that she always was. And then Luz says that all she wanted all along was to be understood. More specifically, she wanted to be understood by her own mother. You see, when she thought her mother didn't understand her, and when she found the demon realm, she thought she was being understanding. Oh yeah, did I also forget to mention deep down she didn't really want to leave the demon realm. She wanted to because she was afraid of messing up. But then once she finally realized that she's been the light of the darkness, it actually helped that. And on top of that, considering that what she wanted all along came to be, her plasmid egg finally hatched, initially taking the form of a purple orb. But Kikimora finds them first, and before we see what happens next, Willow is then still bottling up her emotions. But just before things seem bleak, something happens. Hunter has Flapjack's powers. Yeah, that theory we thought of Hunter having Flapjack's powers finally came true. Then he told him, like, you and Gus mean the world to me. You both do. And then Gus sounded like, let it out, Will, let it out. And then she just brings out like a big cry, which makes it all crumbling down. And with that, they were able to escape with Flapjack's powers. And then he's like, Hunter, you have magic. And it's like, the magic of friendship? Yeah, I'm sure all bronies and Pegasus are gonna be happy when they hear that line, who are also Owl House fans. And I sure was. I was like, no, the magic of Flapjack. Then a battle between Kikimora takes place where they're all trying to fight them off, but of course it wasn't too much. Then the new Hexite students show up, which as a distraction in order for them to get to the Collector's Skull. They were able to make the glyphs, and were they able to make it in time? Yes, they were able to make it to the Titan's skull, and just in time too, because the Loser's Talisman finally takes its true form. What is it that you may ask? Is it a dragon? Is it a bird? Is it an otter? A snake? A bat? It's actually all of them, because it turned out to be a snake shifter, to which Luz names her String Bean. Oh man, is that so nice? Only wish Flapjack was here to see this. But on the other hand, Huntblow is now canon, as they're now officially holding hands. This is good. Wow, I'm gonna see their love. I can't wait to see their love fully bloom in the final episode. Anyways, however, even with all this celebration going on, and with Ida, and with Lumity joking around about, like, with Ida and King and Hootie thinking that they're probably gonna eat Luz's Talisman once they reunite. The Collector sees what's going on, and the possessed Rain asks, "What will you do, Collector? Now that now that Luz has come to help King get rid of you for good?" And he's like, "I want to play a new game." And then he snaps his fingers, and everything goes to black. That's the end of the episode. Then we get some artwork of some stuff that's happening, just like at the ending of Thanks to Them. And that's the end of the episode. Oh, and is it just me, or when the Collector snapped his fingers, did I think of the ending of Avengers Infinity War, when Thanos snapped his fingers? Yeah. Thank goodness that no one turned to dust. But then again, things are about to go into a much more hellish environment. I wonder how this is all gonna play out. Well, anyways, and that was For the Future. And in my personal opinion, I liked it a bit more than Thanks to Them. Okay, yes, I will admit, Thanks to Them story was okay. I will admit, yes, Thanks to Them did have a bit of a slightly better story and climax, but I still thought For the Future was still a fantastic episode regardless, and was definitely an amazing episode all around. Besides, I don't see anyone complaining about saying that this episode was bad. So it was such a great episode regardless. So, yeah. Dana and the crew have been doing a great job with both episodes. Yes, it was sad that this episode got leaked, but it was still a great one regardless. And while I was disappointed that Luz, Ida, and King didn't reunite in this episode, I do understand why they didn't. Dana's saving it for the final episode, and to wait for Camila to meet Ida and King then. Besides, it kind of does make sense in this area to have them meet in the finale. I mean, it is going to be the last episode, so give them a big moment. So yeah, all in all, I thought this was a fantastic episode, and I just cannot wait for watching and dreaming. And besides, there will be some stuff that will keep me occupied, like during the wait. I mean, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes out in a few weeks. Looking forward to that. And The Mandalorian Season 3 comes out in March. Also looking forward to that. Oh, and a few other movies as well. So basically, I'll be able to be preoccupied with my time. Well, for at least with some on the entertainment scale. So yeah. Anyways, those were my thoughts on. That was my spoiler review on for the future. Let me guys know what you thought of the episode, and are you guys excited for the final episode? And are you sad that the series is coming to an end? Oh, who am I kidding? Of course you guys are sad that it's coming to an end very soon. I mean, in fact, Twitter even released a post that after the final episode airs, that'll be the end of the 12-year Serial Riot series run. Maybe I might have to do a ranking of that after I review the final episode. So yeah. Well, I might do a community post like after I do the review of the final episode, like to ask you guys like what video I should do for first for the like related to this. But anyways, until the next video comes, if you'd like to be part of the channel, all you have to do is click that subscribe button down below. Like this video if you really enjoy it. And until next time, peace and take care. Now someone get me a pizza bagel.